Please welcome to the Imus in the Morning program, Carl Jeffers. Good morning, Mr. Jeffers.
Good morning, Don. You're absolutely terrific.
All right, thank you, Carl. Carl, how do you want me to introduce you now? Is it from the Huffington Post or?
Well, just a political analyst and contributor to Huffington Post and radio and TV commentator.
Okay, so how are you?
I'm good. I have to tell you, Don. I love your harmless humor, and a few days ago, you had a line where I'm still laughing about it. You were talking about Warren Buffett, and you said that this is 2009, and the guy's buying a railroad.
You okay, Carl?
I'm just fine.
Hey, I saw you with Cavuto. That was pretty good, huh?
Yes, I've enjoyed visiting with Neil, and it looks like we'll be visiting from time to time. And I enjoy the chemistry and the opportunity to engage with him because he's very sharp and very astute, and we seem to have developed really good rapport. I enjoy that as much as I certainly, without question, enjoy your show. And by the way, Neil feels like he discovered me himself because he and I met when we were in the green room in New York when I was there to appear on your show.
Well, Neil is fair and balanced, and as you know, we're not. So let's start.
That makes it more of an opportunity for me with you.
Your guy is trying to tell us, President Obama is trying to tell us, he and Mrs. Doubtfire there in the press office, that they had nothing to do with this election in New Jersey, and the one in Virginia, and these other contests where they were lobbying to try to get these folks elected?
I think probably Al Gore had it best. He got it right when he said that, I don't read too much into these things at this point, he said, but if, however, the elections had gone the other way, I would have read quite a lot into these things, and I think that's pretty much it. Let me tell you what I took from the election, Don, because it's in two facets. The first is that a week before the election, I was on the air talking about a new poll that had just come out, and that poll showed that for the first time since Barack Obama took office, that a slight majority of the American people who were polled now felt that the country was again on the wrong track, going in the wrong direction for the first time since he took office. And I have to tell you that I was saying then that I don't care who's in the White House, when a poll shows that the American people in a slight majority are feeling we're on the wrong track, that's bad news for whoever's in office and for whoever the incumbents are. And whatever administration is in power, they will have some negative fallout from that, even if it's not personally the president's fault. And so that was a significant foreteller of what happened the other night. The second thing that I think is perhaps even more significant to me comes not from the actual election results of New Jersey and in Virginia and indeed in New York and other places, but the exit polls, Don. And every one of the election areas, not just New York, New Jersey, Virginia, but in Houston and in Atlanta, all of those areas, the exit polls were consistent in one area. No matter how the other issues ranked, the number one issue that each of the Americans polled in each of those polls said was the most pressing concern was the economy. And what this tells me is that a year after taking office, the president has really focused and mobilized his energy and his resources on health care and climate control and education. But what brought him the election, and I say this again, was the economic downturn of September 15th. That's what turned the election around and made it possible for him to then really defeat John McCain. If that hadn't happened, I still think because of race and other issues, McCain wins. So now that he's won, in this year, the economy has gotten worse, and the fact is the stimulus package and all of these things have not reached Main Street yet, Don. And what the American people are saying is that we've got a new round of bonuses coming up on Wall Street, and yet we are not getting money on Main Street. Businesses are not getting the loans, even with the revisions in the SBA guidelines, and mortgages are not being remodified for working Americans to the degree that they was projected. And as a result, the president can take all the time he wants deciding when he's going to send troops or not to Afghanistan. But the reality is, if we can't get these employment numbers down, he may have to send some troops to Detroit. Because, that's the real problem out there, that Main Street is still hurting. Meanwhile, Wall Street is reboomed booming, is re-bonusing everybody, and everyone in the media whose jobs are not on the line, who are making 6 and 7 figures a year, are talking about how we're seeing positive signs in the economy. This is happening, that's happening. Of course, the jobs number still lags. Well, their jobs are not lagging, but the people on the streets in mainstream America, their jobs are lagging, and it's tight. Halloween, 30% lower retail sales for Halloween a week ago than a year ago. That's a symbol that the retail sector and that the American consumer is still hurting, Don, and that's why the economy is number one, and the president has to get more involved in getting that stimulus money out and getting the job level back up and getting people to feel psychologically that we are over the hump, and not just hearing it from Wall Street where they are over the hump because their bonuses are back up to almost pre-economic downturn levels.
Mr. Jeffers, it's Charles.
Yeah, hi, Charles.
It's Mr. Imus is now lying down on the floor taking a nap.
I was taking a nap,
I'm
Carl.
not joking.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's better news than what Chris Wallace got this morning with him, so I'm doing okay.
Prior to that, this discourteous churl was simply checking his email before lying down.
I was actually sending an email.
None of it tops the time when I was on, when after I was sued, Don came on and says, Carl, could you repeat that? Because I had to go out and rotate the tires on the car.
During your elegant and informed assessment of Tuesday's results.
Talking with Carl Jeffers here in the Imus Morning program. Does this mean, serious question, that the president's not going to be able to get this health care reform he wants, whatever that is?
Oh, I don't think that it harbors good signs for health care. I mean, even on the day of the election, Don, we heard from Harry Reid that it may very well be that the Senate will not take up health care until next year. And the reality is that, remember, the president has moved the deadlines 4 or 5 different times. If the health care is not passed this year, and the House will very likely pass it within the next few weeks, if they have to move it to next year, Don, the further you get into the year, the more likely that moderate Democrats will bolt because we're getting closer to the off-year elections.
Yep.
And last Tuesday night already scared them, and now if we go into next year, they'll be even more scared. So yes, that is a harbinger of bad signs politically for the health care reform. But the president, you made the point just now. Whatever it is, there's still a lot of Americans who don't quite understand what the president's health care plan is.
I don't think he understands.
Well, he's got to be more proactive, Don, in making it clear. Does he want the government option? Does he not want it? I want it because I think that even for conservatives out there, that the bill will only work and drive your costs down and save you money if the government option is in there. But the president is saying one day, I want it in, the next day, well, we're willing to take it out if we have to. He's not made it clear exactly what he wants, and until he does that, he can't mobilize all of his ground forces of the people in the country who really do support.
He might be able to get what he wants if he tells the people what he wants.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah, it's a good point.
He's got to be more proactive. That's exactly right.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying so. And
no,
so
you're
are you,
absolutely
apparently.
right, though. I've been making that point for some time. Many people just don't understand what it is that he wants, and he's got to be forceful, and he's got to fight for it at the risk of losing. I think what's happening is that he's being advised to stay neutral so that whatever the package winds up being, he can still take some credit for it. Well, that's what a good president does. A great president will, however, say, this is what I want, this is the plan that will work best for the American people, and I will fight for it, and if we lose, we'll come back again with it even stronger.
You're terrific, first of all. You're a great sport, and I love having you on, and thank you very much.
Well, Don, it's great to be here, and it's good to be with you guys today.